They didn't listen. So at the very least, they were wrong about that. But they won't admit that either. And yet they show up and they have all their ideas, and we're supposed to listen to them. And they even have the gumption to turn around to conservatives who have been in this movement forever and try to lecture them. And so I'll tell you how to really argue on these issues. What the hell do you know? You've been wrong about everything.
I'm telling you, I can't take anything seriously. I just can't. He said he's had it. He's like, who the hell are you? You're not going to tell me about my fight. I know what I've been doing all this time, okay?
Although in basically every case, they'll deny that they're moving to the right. Instead, they'll say something like, the left left me, which always turns out to be at most only partially true, but also partially their way of not having to actually admit that they were wrong about something. So you probably remember Mika and Joe on Morning Joe solemnly explaining their decision to go to Mar-a-Lago and meet with Donald Trump. They said that they agreed to restart communications with Trump and find common ground in order to heal our national divides and put an end to political warfare. Watch.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States...
Okay, so this is actually, he's right about Morning Joe, but Matt Walsh sounds off on Cenk Uygur. Like, this is not about Morning Joe, okay? This is about Cenk Uygur. This is about TYT. He's had enough, all right? So that's what this is about. So we're just going to go ahead and skip this part, and let's get into the meat and potatoes of the situation.
Morning Joe gets along with Trump or not, they have zero impact on the country either way. But in any case, before, that was still them sort of moderating a bit. And before Morning Joe's big kumbaya moment, there were other examples of this sort of thing. Anna Kasparian of the Young Turks had been making the rounds for months, criticizing the left for its excesses. Of course, somebody like Bill Maher has been doing the same thing for much longer. And there are several other examples of this kind of thing. And these are all different people and different cases that shouldn't necessarily all be thrown into the same basket. But I do have some concerns about this now familiar routine of leftists seeing the light, or sort of seeing it, and then being immediately embraced by many on the right, even celebrated and amplified as voices of reason. And I think the best way to explain my concerns is to point to another one of these newly minted voices of reason. This one also comes to us courtesy of the Young Turks. In fact, it is the creator of the show, Cenk Uygur. Now, Cenk has been a passionate, some would say vicious, unhinged, hysterical critic of Trump and MAGA and conservatives generally for many, many years. And yet, 2 weeks ago, he tweeted that he is now somehow feeling optimistic after the guy he despised and the movement he has opposed with his whole heart and soul just won. He wrote...
So before we get to what he wrote, now you have to understand the history behind Cenk Uygur and Matt Walsh. Cenk Uygur just made a video about Matt Walsh because, Matt Walsh, he goes to Congress or he goes to these legislation hearings and he speaks against certain things that are happening in schools like CRT or, the trans stuff. And, we all know the books and all of that, right? And so Cenk Uygur just made a video saying like, oh, this is still hateful and all of that, which is insane to me because it's like these people just choose not to get information. Because if you had the whole information about everything that was going on, there's no way you can't be against it. There's no way I'm sending my kid to school and then you're telling me that my kid tells you that there's something that they feel like a boy today, and you're not going to tell me that my kid said that to you, and that you're going to promote this kind of behavior in school. I'm going to be ready to fight people. Okay, let's just keep it real. Okay, but let's go ahead and get into it. By the way, guys, if you like the video, please don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button and the notification bell. And let's just go ahead and thank you to every eye that lands on this video.
Quote, I've been trying to figure out why I'm more optimistic now than I was before the election, even though I was so against the guy who won. I know now. MAGA is not my mortal enemy, and neither is the extreme left. My mortal enemy is the establishment, and they have been defeated. Now, despite being a far-left commentator who has demonized conservatives for literally decades, he now says that MAGA is not his enemy. The establishment is his enemy. In other tweets and comments, he's called for unity between the two sides. He's criticized the extreme left, or as he now apparently calls them, the max left. and has assured us that if the folks on both sides can unite against the villainous establishment, we will be invincible. Last week, he appeared on the PBD podcast to explain this new approach, which he won't really admit is a new approach, but even so, here you go.
Here's what my left-wing friends don't understand. They think you guys are all MAGA, and MAGA means it's a cult, and you're never going to disagree with Trump, you're never going to disagree with each other, and that you are like their father's Republicans, but you're not their father's Republicans. And so our side, I've been trying to get them to realize that Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, all these folks that take the money, they're not on your side. They're on the establishment side, right? And guys, today, I think that, we could do something historic. I think that we could actually unite the left flank and the right flank. And I've got a model for how to do that, and I want to run it by you guys. Before, when I battled the right wing, it was a wall, right? I'm just like, nobody's listening to one another. They're just doing talking points. I hated it. And then MAGA looked like they were 100%. I'll be honest. I mean, in 2020, I was super pissed. And I said, look, I don't want to talk to Trump supporters. All I hear is the same thing. Trump, 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 Trump. And they never waver. So what I'm saying to the left now is, no, I'm seeing something new and different here.
So you're seeing something new and different in 2.2 seconds, because this is what I do, right? Like, I look up clips, I try to find good clips to share with people, to share with just share it all around the whole bit, right? And I'm telling you that Cenk Uygur was just sounding off about MAGA supporters, about Trump supporters, just 2 months ago, even more recent, right? So miss me with it all. You still do this thing about fake electors, okay? No matter how I feel about Trump today, because I do question a lot of the people around him. I say it all the time. I can't go a clip without saying it. Sorry. But it doesn't change what happened in 2020. And people like him will forever think that people like me are insane for saying that, no, I don't think Trump lost the election.
MAGA base has changed. Okay, that doesn't mean they don't like Trump. It doesn't mean that they're not right wing. But there is a significant portion of the MAGA base now that is, in my opinion, right wing populists who are actually anti-establishment, actually anti-corruption, actually anti-war. And what I'm trying to tell the left is, take the win. Take the win. We've been standing opposed here for 20 years, trying to cut the Pentagon, trying to be anti-war, getting money out of politics. If people say yes, for God's sake, that's our lost tribe. Those are our right-wing brothers and sisters who are Americans, who are populists, who agree with us. Let's go fight the establishment together, because if we're united, they cannot stop us.
Brothers and sisters. Very nice sentiment. Cenk says that he has a plan. In fact, he said in the interview he had a plan to unite us all. He's all about unity. And he says that the MAGA base has changed. Now it is actually anti-establishment, anti-corruption, and anti-war. But there's some rather significant problems here. And the first and most obvious is that the MAGA base has always been anti-establishment, anti-corruption, and anti-war.
To an extent.
Those have been by far the defining features of the base from day one. But Cenk pretends that this was only a recent development so that, again, he can avoid actually admitting that he was wrong. In fact, he goes further. He takes credit. He pretends that the MAGA base has come to him, that this is a left-wing win, basically. Now, the other problem, and it's a big one, is that Cenk extends this olive branch to Trump supporters and praises them for their stand against corruption and war. But here's what he was saying about Donald Trump as recently as last October.
He's a dictator. He's a fascist. That's not hyperbole. So, and here I'll upset a bunch of people on the left. Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley are not fascists. They're terrible people for other reasons, but they've never done a coup against America. They don't use direct Nazi quotes that Trump does. The only fascist that is an actual threat to democracy is Donald J. Trump. He already tried to end this democracy once. And guys, last thing. The other day, he said, immigrants are poisoning the blood of our nation. Mm-hmm. That quote has only been used by Adolf Hitler and Donald J. Trump.
I don't really care I don't. They are. They are. You cannot drop 40,000 Haitians. I'm Haitian. This is me not being hypocritical. I'm Haitian by blood, but American by birth. Yes, my parents did come here legally 40 years ago, right? They bust their behinds here, right? And at the same time, you cannot drop off 40,000 fresh Haitians in Springfield, Ohio, and expect something good to come out of it. No, this is an absolute culture shock. So I don't care that he said that. Okay, that's number one. Number two, Cenk Uygur's establishment, because you're telling me that Trump is so bad because of this fake elector thing or whatever, right? But then you're going to bring up DeSantis and Nikki Haley as the good people? Are you kidding me? These war hawks? DeSantis said he would go to every third world country and what did he say? He would go to every third world country, basically, and start war with them and get them for anti-Semitism. Like, I promise you, I'm not making this up. Okay? This man went all the way to Israel to sign hate speech laws for Florida. Wait, what's wrong with Cenk Uygur? Nikki Haley, she's signing missiles. You bring up those people. This is why you are a fraud. And by the way, these are the points that I'm making. That no, Matt is not going to make that point. He's not going to make that point. This is why I'm a little tired of everybody, to be honest. But it's okay. Let's let Matt cook.
Have even been willing to admit that they were wrong. Instead, they claim that they've remained consistent while the left abandoned them. And this is, as I said, at the absolute most, only partially true. There is always at least another part, the part where, in fact, they have drastically changed their tune on a number of serious issues, but they won't admit it. At the very least, these are people who ignored and probably scoffed at and demeaned the conservatives who told them that the left was on a slippery slope into madness. They didn't listen. So at the very least, they were wrong about that. But they won't admit that either. And yet they show up and they have all their ideas, and we're supposed to listen to them. And they even have the gumption to turn around to conservatives who have been in this movement forever and try to lecture them. And so I'll tell you how to really argue on these issues. What the hell do you know? You've been wrong about everything.
I'm telling you, I can't take anything seriously. I just can't. He said he's had it. He's like, who the hell are you? You're not going to tell me about my fight. I know what I've been doing all this time, okay? You're just Johnny-come-latelys to this. I don't blame him at all, especially understand that the blood is boiling because literally 2 days before this, Cenk did a video about him. So we will see where this continues to go between the two of them, because I really like the content, so I'm waiting for the response video, and I'll bring that back to you guys. But in the meantime, I understand Matt's anger. I do. And everybody's just like on this kumbaya. We'll see how long it lasts. Look, I wish that people will come together and really look at the establishment. The problem is you have somebody like Cenk Uygur who is trying to capitalize off of this movement because he says, I have the plan. I'm going to tell you how to bring everybody together. Who are you? Seriously, that is a good question. Who are you? But then still uses these labels and terms and stuff. And then says Nikki Haley and DeSantis were good. Whoa. So, yeah, I understand the Leftist Unity Act is a total sham. I can understand why he's saying that. Everything, this pendulum is swinging, man. These people are seeing, they can't stand the view, all of this stuff, they don't want to be a part of that. They're still trying to get their paper. So, yeah, they come and they say, hey, military-industrial complex, let's cut the Pentagon. Slow down with all that cutting the Pentagon, too. I'm not saying necessarily cut the Pentagon. I'm saying cut the aid to other countries and the bombs that you're sending over to other countries to blow up civilians, right? And keep that here, right? I want a strong military defense system. Don't get me wrong. I'm not a hippie. I'm not dumb. Okay. But anyway, guys, we're gonna continue to see where this goes. I hope it grows and grows and grows. I love it. It's hilarious to me. But I'm totally with Matt. I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye.